They say when you wear Black Power Media gear, you can accomplish anything. You can play any and every position. From coaching, to kicking, to receiving, to running and juking. And oh my goodness, let's see that again in slow motion. Get off me. And you're going to have a lot of haters coming at you. But what you got to do is you got to shake them off and get to your goal and accomplish it. And when that's done, it's a beautiful thing. I'm talking about going hard, extra, for that extra point. And when it's done beautifully, you talking about touchdown. Oh, and the crowd goes wild and they're celebrating with you and everything. Man, let's see that again. Nice.
Black Power Media, baby. That's how we do it.
Now go to blackpowermedia.org and get you some of that gear. Empower yourself today. Yeah.
Yes. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Earn Your Liberation right here on Black Power Media. Brother Diallo, Geechee y'all.
Morning.
I'm Jared Ball. What's up, fellas?
Good morning. What's up?
Morning.
Welcome to all the remixes coming in.
What did he say?
Spring is in the air. It's a new new day, new era. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Donald Trump gonna be calling people from the cells saying, "Come on, they got us, man. Come on down to the precinct, they got us."
No, this is it. This is the sign that all is well, right? Mm-hmm. The country's headed in the right direction. We're about to be free. It's about to be another victory. You know what I'm saying?
You don't have to hate on it though. It's a good thing. It's not. I mean, we can take the small little respites. Is that the word? Respite from all the horrors to enjoy to smell the flowers, to pick the lilies.
I'm going to enjoy it, but
okay, yeah, it's a good.
But
time.
no, but the only thing it's hard to enjoy when I see like Democrats trying to score points. Like I don't like that part of it. Like like you're not the.
Yeah, they be trying to high five you, right? Yeah,
right. Now we on the same team, right?
Yeah,
and I'm like, nah. That's like Nah, it's like the one time I stupidly ran out the house with like one of my last bits of Navy memorabilia on, and sure enough, white dudes said, "Thank you for your service," and I took it. I just took the hat off and went back to it. I was like, "Nah," it's like it wasn't.
Right.
It was a sentence, motherfucker. That was But anyway, yeah. But I was like, "Nah, thank you for your service." Like, no.
Right, yeah. You can't sit with us at the lunch table.
Yeah, nah. I was like, anyway. So, everybody good? How's everybody in the remix community doing this morning? Good morning to those of you who are joining us live. Peace, to everybody who will see this later. Welcome to you as well. Yeah. Anyway. So we have, I know we got guests coming on. We got serious business in the second hour. So people will have to, forgive us some of the silliness in the first hour. We're gonna slowly escalate as we move ahead. But are we ready? Do you want to get started now? Was there anything else you wanted to chat about first? Anything we need to?
Yeah, now let's get into Michael Render and make sure we don't call him Killer Mike because we don't got enough money to to call him kill him.
He
But
doesn't. Go ahead, Diallo.
I just wanted to give a shout out to Chicago. Bernie Claus had come to town yesterday for a political rally. So,
Oh, really?
yeah, Bernie Claus coming to town. Oh yeah.
And how did that go?
What y'all get? What y'all get from
You
it?
know, I said to my wife, I said, Bernie Claus it'll be in a rally not too far from here. You want to go? And she's like, I ain't got time for that. And I didn't want to go by myself. I didn't want people to think I was uncool showing up at the Bernie Claus rally by myself. So I stayed home, but I was there in spirit.
Oh, is that how it looks when I show up everywhere by myself? Uncool?
Yeah, man.
Well, I'm used to that. My bad. I've never been cool, but so I stay going somewhere by myself. So I'm just like, anyway, give them something to talk about. They go that sucker by himself. There you go. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. So I didn't
Bernie
want to go by
Claus.
myself. And I went to the last Bernie rally
Mm-hmm.
here in Chicago. It was litty.
Mm-hmm.
I got to high five the liberals. You refused to kick it with. I got to kick it with we was high fiving like, yeah, si se puede. And it all crashed and burned.
But do you at least know that, like, do you know anything about his latest message? Did he, like, what is this all for right now? Just to make sure, what is
he came here to
right
support
now? Start a
Brandon
book?
Johnson for mayor.
Oh, okay.
Which I think maybe could have backfired. I don't know. I think
that's who you said needs to be voted for.
Who?
Right? Didn't you say that's who?
Yeah, I support. Oh, I 100% support Brandon. Let's go, Brandon. But I don't know how well a Bernie endorsement will do on the South side, because the neoliberal and neoliberal Democratic establishment is very, the Obama Democrats are very powerful here, and they did a really good job demonizing demonizing Bernie amongst the black masses.
Right, because he didn't support reparations, or that was one of the.
Nah, that ain't why they said because Obama had put forth some legislative policies that that Bernie supported, and they literally had commercials here on black radio that was like when Bernie was running for the nomination against Hillary. I mean, in the last election. And they were like, Bernie Sanders voted against Obama. And they were like, what? You mean to tell me Bernie didn't support Obama? And that's literally how the commercials went. So,
damn.
Yeah. So they didn't talk about any specific, but they just like Bernie did not give 100% support for Obama when Obama was in office. And the Obama cult is strong here. It's as strong as the MAGA cult in rural America.
How old is Bernie now, man? He's like, what, 90, 70, 80?
He's ageless. He's Bernie Claus.
He's ageless. Yeah.
Okay.
He's Bernie Claus. Checking the list. Checking it twice. He comes to town and
him and
Norm Chomsky healthcare under your tree. Huh?
They should I said him and Norm Chomsky, they should just run for the last time. Them two together.
President and vice president, yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, man, a lot of folks were surprised that we had Avi Chomsky on here last week. They surprised at the reach of Earn Your Liberation.
Hey, man. If y'all two wasn't burning bridges, we can get even some more popular people, but y'all don't make
friends.
Don't say
y'all too, man. Diallo burns all the bridges.
I don't know, Jab. I don't know.
I don't even do nothing. People just don't like the argument. Diallo pokes the bear. He tags these fools on his post.
Hey, I be beefing with scumbags in the streets. You the one in the Ivory Tower. You beefing with people.
Exactly.
With high status people.
Yes.
I beef with petty scumbags on the internet. You the one out here having existential conflicts.
Every time I look up, Diallo is got some fancy Instagram cartoon statement up there, something bashing somebody and the comments be deep. I
Yeah,
put up all
man.
this love and light. Nobody
My
likes it. Nobody pays no
are
attention to
strictly
it.
ideological. I don't make it. It's strictly ideology. That's it. Ideology is all. That's my mission right now.
My conflict come from associating with y'all two. So if it had not been for y'all two, I'd have had more friends.
Oh, easy
Just go
D.
ahead.
I have for years and reached out to at one point or another, I believe all of the daughters who had any sort of public life, I had reached out in terms of Malcolm's. And when one of them, I can't remember which one it was, but one of them had come to Morgan some years ago, and I couldn't go to the event because I didn't know it was happening until late. And I sent a signed copy of a live reinvention with one of the students that had organized it. And, with an invitation, my email and number in there, and never heard. So yeah, I would love to, anyway, just a quick response there. And same thing here. There's no these shirts here. No, there was the petty beat me. Like y'all, like people were out there as soon as the name of the Commanders was announced as the Washington football team name. Many of us must have had a similar thought, because I just went to whatever. I don't even remember where I got it. Just whatever your routine. I just started Googling, and the shirts were already made. I got 2 of them. Got a T-shirt, a sweatshirt. I was like, I'm gonna be walking around here with the commies on. I was like, this is, I can't wait, because I saw somebody complain. There was somebody in the DC area complained and said, no, I don't like the new name. They're going to be calling us the commies. And I was like, boom. And I know somebody else heard the same thing, printed up the T-shirts, and I was probably one of the first 5 customers. I was like, click, click. Anyway, speaking of communism, its antithesis is being very well represented by Atlanta's best, Atlanta's finest. So my proposal was, I really only would like to, I think we only need to watch maybe 3 minutes of this thing, and we can supply the link if people want to watch the whole thing, because it just descends into madness. But I'm happy to go as far as you all want to go.
Focusing on the negative instead of the positive.
Okay, all right. Well, then to be fair,
we got good news. Killer Mike is in the studio with Dead Prayers. It's gonna be hot fire. Mm-hmm. We can focus on that. The positive. Spring is in the air. It's a new bro Diallo right now.
That would be
going on tour, right?
Terrifying.
He going on tour with he going on tour with them. They got a tour.
They didn't say nothing about a tour, but they did say music. But they go, I'll go, because I ain't got no beef. Talib Kweli was just here, and I didn't want to go to the show.
That's another bridge you burnt up.
That was a raw wound. I wanted things.
we can't have a video of you getting jumped.
Chicago Rhinery.
Yeah, we can't have that.
Yeah. So, but yeah, if they go on tour, they better not come around here, because I'm sure gonna go see it.
If Killer Mike and Dead Prez go on tour, I'm absolutely going, and I'm going to use every connect. I'm going to pull on every 6 degrees of separation to get myself good seats and press passes for Earn Your Liberation. and we're going to be front row, side stage center, whatever they call it, wherever we're going to be. We're going to be right up in that joint, talk about how is this collabo coming together, but
Dead Prez, they burn the dollars, and Killer Mike will stomp them out and stuff them in his pocket, put the fire out. So it's going to be a real live. I'm looking forward to the pyrotechnics.
The stage show going to be crazy.
Yeah.
Speaking of crazy stage shows, though, this one right here. So, and if folks don't know, so I think all of us, because I know I got sent this link by. I love how this works. I do love these little circles. I got like 6 or 7, maybe up to maybe even as many as 10 people sending me this clip over the last few days. And on Twitter, in the DMs, people like, you see this? You're going to love this. And it's Michael Render, not Killer Mike, and that will be made clear in a moment. Michael Render sitting down with Anthony Resler, the CEO of Aries Management, and I believe co-owner of the Milwaukee Brewers and a majority owner of the Atlanta Hawks. And they're being interviewed by the man on screen here, Alan Murray, who is the CEO of Fortune magazine.
And he wrote the book. He wrote the book Tomorrow's Capitalism, where he thinks you can have a more peaceful capitalism.
Yeah. And Emma, you may want to. You may want to. You may want to. You may want to, because this is yeah, we go
hideous.
Here we go. Hang on, everybody.
And thank you, Tony and Killer Mike. I got to tell you,
Just Michael.
just Mike. But Killer Mike sort of.
When they call me Killer Mike, they have to give me like $250,000 at the end of the night.
Okay, I'm not doing that.
Okay.
That's only for the stage.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that.
You guys aren't paying him his stage.
Yeah, my mom never liked that name.
I'm sorry about that.
The whole, I don't know, man. The whole
Showing
thing
too
here.
much teeth. Showing
It's
too
a
much
lot.
teeth. You can't be sitting between two white men showing all them damn teeth.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
You ain't see that pat on the back though.
Yeah,
You see
and
that?
they man, listen.
Hello, he getting pat right now.
I want him to show the bottom of his shoes. See if them little caps on there, them little tapping caps. That's too much.
Hey,
Oh,
not-
man.
You
Stop
supposed
talking
to
about that.
smirk and
People-
sneer around white folks, especially two rich white men. That's way too many teeth.
not if you about to get a half a bill.
Breaking all the black codes.
I don't know. I felt like my thing is you're not supposed to be invited in the first place. They're not supposed to want you around. But anyway, but you said it, Diallo. That was exactly what I was thinking. Too much teeth. He's too
his new name is,
happy.
he's not Killer no more. He's Cuddly Mike.
But
Now on,
we
Cuddly Mike.
we definitely can't afford the Killer Mike fee. So he's just Mike or
just-
Cuddly
Just
or
call him
Cuddly.
Cuddly Mike. Look how safe and warm. I feel warmer just looking at him.
Hey, man.
Oh man.
I have to tell you, I do a lot of interviews. But this is not my usual thing. And one of the things I have to start with you, Mike, because I spent some time reading some of your lyrics.
Mhm.
You don't really strike me as a pro-capitalism kind of guy. I mean, here here's one. The American Dream. American Dream had a price tag, and only one man in a million can afford to pay. That's Tony, by the way. So what are you and Tony doing together? Explain to me your method of operation here.
I mean, I think first of all, I live in Robert Smith is someone I talked to, and Mike Roberts, who are both black guys who happen to have made a lot of money.
Which line I'm gonna tell first?
Made $1 billion in their lifetime. So I kind of shut up and listen when they impart me with any wisdom. But Mike Roberts says to me one day, he says, it was amazing. Just two people confirmed to me. They said, you're going to be a billionaire. One was Bernie Sanders. He said, you're going to be a billionaire, and I'm going to tax the hell out of you too. And the other, I guess that's why my guy didn't get elected. And the other person, nobody in this room is like Sanders, apparently.
Duh.
The other one was Mike Roberts. And he said, if you were born in a socialist society, you'd have been a hell of a socialist and a leader. If you'd been born in a communist society, you'd have been a hell of a communist and a leader. Michael, you happen to have been born in a capitalistic society, and you understand that either you're going to be a participant in it or a victim of it. Huh. And it didn't mean that he was against capitalism. He understood that when Kwame Toure,
I think we need to build around
you
that.
guys may know him as Stokely Carmichael, needed to.
Hold on. I wanted to, like I said, I don't even want to play more than another minute of this, but I wanted to just let that breathe. But yeah, we could do that because he doubles down here and oh my God, that's just so yeah. But go ahead, make you wanted to say something about that point.
No,
Geechee, you said you wanted
to one of the things. Yeah. No, I'm saying that's one of the things of like the continuous, I don't know, craziness of either being a participant or a victim. When again, most of these people are not gonna be able to participate at any type of level. Like you basically are mainly surviving. But I guess that's
you
what,
participate as a victim.
Problem.
That's the part. Our participation for the most part is as victims. That's what this is. That's what capitalism does. So he's I mean, it's anyway.
But
bad. Diallo, go ahead.
Why that dude's like, man, like he's like, you talk all that shit in the studio, but you don't rep it in the streets. That's basically what that dude said to him.
Yeah.
He's like, you popping shit behind in the studio, you know, you a studio gangster, you a studio conscious or studio work. And Mike didn't put, I mean, he's like, I'm gonna read your lyrics. I've never been so bold.
And the same thing.
Lyrics back at him.
and then he told him, but to me, that's the point. That's part of the problem in terms of the audiences that Mike ends up targeting, that they assume a certain level of radicalism and progressivism or thought in his approach. People used to, again, my students are the ones who used to send me Run Your Jewels and all this other stuff in response to what we would talk about in class. And they would say, well, have you heard this? You know, if you say that there's, you know, it's hard for conscious rap to bubble to the top, what about this? And you know, it was the same kind of thing. There are these allusions to something that sounds radical, but it's not really. And then he can come back here and do this.
They call Run Your Jewels, that's a conscious group? I mean,
that's how I was introduced to them. That's because it was, again, through students telling me. That's literally how it began for me. I had never heard of them. I didn't know, and I don't think I had put together what I had previously heard, you know, when Killer Mike had popped up with Outkast or somebody early on, you know, I didn't put it all together. So when that I had actually heard of him before. But when they sent me Run the Jewels, and remember there was that one video in particular where they just show, what was it? Somebody chasing a brother being chased in black and white, and there's a fight apparently, something like that. And it was I can't remember, but it was something like, and students were like, oh, Dr. Ball, this is, you know, you gotta whatever, you know, you consider this, and I would be like, I mean, you know, but anyway.
Geechee, I got two songs for you from Run the Jewels separately. If you look at LP, who's the white boy in Run the Jewels, look up Patriotism, the song Patriotism. And you look up have you heard Cuddly Mike's song Reagan?
No.
Oh, y'all, you listen to Reagan and Patriotism, and you kind of see how they got their conscious rapper credentials, you know.
Okay.
Well, I need to see that list anyway. Like, how do you get put in that category of conscious rapper? Like, what's the criterion? What you have to say?
Well, from what I was saying to my students was, I think basically anybody that's not aggressively, overtly saying the worst, like, you know, gangster rap or drill rap or whatever is, you know, anybody not overtly being horrifically negative is somehow positive. Or anything that sound like the lyric he read back to him here. You know, there's some sort of only one person can afford the American dream. Oh, Mike got him. Oh, Dr. Ball, nobody your generation came that hard.
He does do conscious raps. I mean, it's often not really overtly ideological in terms of, you can't listen to his songs and be like, well, this is a Pan-African perspective, or this is a Marxist or materialist analysis, or this is Pan-African. But it highlights, his music does highlight or point out injustices or you know, in the system, abuses.
But that's what I'm saying though, like conscious of what? Because if at today, Earn Your Leisure in the groups, they're conscious because they got financial literacy. So like, at what point do we kind of conscious of what?
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I mean, if you go to these shows, like last time I went to a Dead Prez show or a Public Enemy show, 90% of the people in the audience are white. You know, and I'm old enough that when you used to go to a concert, it was 100% black people. Like the first rap concerts I went, the only white people there were like security and the fire marshal trying to shut it down. And now, so you have to think about, you know, for the average white kid, what would seem radical or conscious from the average middle class, upper middle class white kid, who are the primary consumers and the primary targets for rap promotion. So that's a lot of times when we get things schooled, and that angst and dissatisfaction with the system, that doomer or nihilism or pseudo nihilism that's amongst. That's kind of the perspective you have to look at it for, because I think most rappers, when they go in the studio, they're looking for that that sweet spot in hip hop. Like when KRS once said, you know, you go platinum doesn't make you the authority. It means you sold out to the white majority. You know, these black bands.
Before we get to Killer Mike disrespecting Kwame Toure, do y'all, how offensive do you think that is? One, but two, do you think he further shits on black struggle by allowing them, and actually even, I think he even sided with them, that capitalists give us gifts. The capitalist system give us stuff as opposed to African people struggling for all of the things that we got in the first place. Like how offensive do you think that is? It sounds like some Bill Clinton shit at John Lewis' funeral, but do you see that as hella disrespectful?
You talking about what he just said there?
We haven't got to that part yet. We
didn't get to the
He's
part
foreshadowing,
yet,
being dramatic, being a drama king, being foreshadowing. Stop being so dramatic.
Should we tell
Rest
the
in peace
crew?
to K Slay.
Trigger warning. He about to say some hard shit. Nah,
Yeah, we
like,
do need to. It is a trigger warning, and like straight up, because
he's about to get jiggy with it.
I actually lost a few minutes watching this the first time. I wasn't ready. So yeah, take a moment, everybody. Take a breath, and if you need to, Emma, others.
I mean, you put us between two wealthy white men. Ain't no telling. That's why you just don't let yourself.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I can't imagine
position.
how would that invitation even occur? And then if it did, how would I accept it? Like, what? I'd be like, who said this is the setup?
Well, hey, I don't know. People accuse me of being an agent. I don't know where to send the agent invoices.
Well, usually I just ask
a Willy Wonka
the
ticket.
Accuser. No, ask the accuser. That's who's probably saying it. Ask the accuser
I do.
where I send my
don't
invoice.
I don't know where the agent invoices go, because I mean
They'll
everybody
tell
else
you.
getting money. But I think these type of invitations are like Willy Wonka tickets. They slide under your door at night. Like, Cuddly Mike, come on down. You're the next Negro we gonna use. You know.
Look at this. He just happens, this little freeze frame. He just looks like he's in the sunken place right here. Just this look right here. Anyway, let's just.
It just looked like he ate a capitalist cake. Yeah. Just ate a capitalist cake. So
if he was born into a communist country,
yeah.
It's not his fault he wasn't born in a communist country.
It's not his fault.
Wherever he appears, Bernie said, whatever system you appear in, you're gonna be at the top. I mean, braggadocious.
Hey, and all real revolutionaries know you don't change the world you're born into. You just adapt and get in it. You know what I mean? You just, that's prosper. Revolution. If you were born and prosper.
Right. If you were born during chattel slavery, you'd have been a house Negro.
And the best one, like the least threatening one, not even to disrespect the house slaves. Like,
had the first pair of Master's old tuxedos.
That's the American way, man. American way.
If you were born in the Nazi regime, you would have been a Gestapo, the head of the Gestapo.
The head of the Juderon, selected your fellow Jews to go to the death care. You go down there, and I pick you.
Right. If you were born during colonization, you would have been Idi Amin.
Hell yeah, he'd have been at the top. Y'all front on our boy.
No matter. And whatever system he's born into, that's what he ain't gonna change it. He's just gonna float to the top like cream and butter. And that's not a comment on his weight. That is a metaphor for his.
Listen, I hear you trying to ad-lib on my capitalism cakes. The brother eating capitalism cake so he can sit on the revolution. Just play the clip.
Damn. All right, good one.
A hell of a socialist and a leader. If you'd been born in a communist society, you'd have been a hell of a communist and a leader. Michael, you happen to have been born in a capitalistic society, and you understand that either you're going to be a participant in it or a victim of it. And it didn't mean that he was against capitalism. He understood that when Kwame Toure Many of you guys may know him as Stokely Carmichael, needed to be buried and needed to return to Africa. It took a black man who's a capitalist to help send him there. So I understand the principles.
All right. Hey, hold on. So I'm happy to come back to this. As much as that for me was it. I did watch the whole thing, and it descends farther into madness. But I did want to just stop there for a quick second because the good news is it had me go back to at least some of the work here. All right. So and I'm sure there's more we could pull out from here, but let's just because like preeminent scholars praised by the highest of other scholars like Robin Kelly and Gerald Horne as the leading Black Power studies thought leaders. Hold on. like they don't even have to refer to this book because when you are
the coach's top thought leader,
you can write a book about Stokely Carmichael and not even refer to his own autobiography. Like what is his own thoughts? What does Michael Thelwell know? You know what I mean? What would they have to say? So I just went back and looked, and I just went, because there's a chapter, one of the concluding chapters is Cancer Brings Out the Best in People, is the title of the chapter. And the point of the chapter is very clearly made that Kwame Toure was not depending on Black capitalists. And as he said in many speeches, still easily found online or elsewhere, probably on imixwhatilike.org. He said all the time about how when you give your life to the people, you can expect to be taken care of. You don't need money. So just a couple of excerpts here that I wanted to just quickly read from on page 732 of the book that preeminent scholars don't even acknowledge exists. He says, for instance, he's talking about how he's already been diagnosed with his cancer. He's in New York. And he says, quote, I would be staying on Covenant Avenue in one of those large, lovely, high-ceilinged old Harlem apartments. It belonged to Mama Jerry, Dr. Geraldine Price, a retired City College professor, Pan-Africanist, and community activist who allowed me the apartment during those cold months when she retreated to Florida. A militant spirit, Dr. Price had, during the Depression and over her father's objections, joined the Communist Party at 16. And talks about later in the paragraph how she was in attendance at events with Paul Robeson and Charlie Parker and Ben Davis, the communist leader. So just one quick example, not I got help from Black banker so-and-so, and go ahead, Diallo, I'll stop there. Go ahead. But I just there's more, but one example of where he got. Go ahead.
But this is the real shit, because when a capitalist gives us charity, he's returning to us a fraction of what he's stolen from us.
Investments.
So I don't give a damn if it's a plane ticket or LeBron James opening a school. They're just returning to the people a fraction of what they exploited and parasitically stolen from the people. So even if, let's say Cuddly Mike sent me a plane ticket, I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna get on the plane. I'm gonna do it because the wealth that they have, that the capitalist system has, that the U.S. system has, is stolen wealth. So I don't care if it's a drug dealer handing out turkeys at Thanksgiving, which I've seen, which I've participated. I've probably partook of some of that dope dealer turkey myself. But that doesn't in any way means that we have any fealty to the capitalist or to the system that allowed them to elevate to a point where they're able to bestow upon the unwashed masses, handpicked periodic blessings.
But let's also be clear, because there's many times on that clip that they talked about the concept of evading taxes, or it's not a charity, it's an investment. So I don't even take that shit. Like they're doing it for one of them two reasons, not no benevolence or kindness or none of that shit.
Right. And investment is parasitic as well. Investment in capitalism literally means you put in as little as possible and extract as much as possible. So when you talk about investing in the community or investing in your people, you're literally saying, I want to exploit my people. I want to put in minimum and get out maximum. But because that is what investing is. From everything I've ever learned about investing, it means you put in as little as possible to get as much return. If you break even as an investor, you're considered a failed investor.
But that's not only Killer Mike's, but majority of the Black business class, entrepreneur class, they really believe that they're gonna assist poor people or Black people by providing them products or services. So selling them some shit is gonna get them to the spot, right? So
both of you, I think, are perfectly correct. My admitted initial focus is on the abuse of not only Toure personally, but what his image is meant to mean in the sort of public sphere of Black political consciousness, and the rebranding that people like Mike do when they do stuff like this. In my head, I am connecting these dots between what Mike is saying, what the Guardian pointed out last year when they acknowledged, the British attempt during Toure's life to destroy his efforts to bring socialism and Pan-Africanism into the Pan-African diaspora, to the African diaspora in the UK, and to Peniel Joseph's erasure of this very book in a book that's supposed to be about him, because you then leave out stuff like when they say here on page 742, and this is Michael Thelwell's sort of what is the word I'm looking for? Interjection, where he steps in and adds some narration, because they're talking about the point where Toure is really having to confront the fact that he needs treatment. And it says here, quote, one crucial dramatic confrontation during this first hospitalization is not specifically mentioned in Kwame's account. It involved a knockdown drag out between the patient, meaning Toure himself, and a united front of his closest associates led by his mother. In their account, the brother's initial response to the diagnosis was an entirely predictable, complex mixture of pride, principle, and some fundamental concerns, both personal and political. Pride would not permit him to see himself becoming the object of pity or personal charity. As a matter of political principle, he refused, even though still an American citizen, to become a ward of what he considered the grudging and unfeeling medical welfare system, the capitalism of which he was so vigorous a critic. His immediate strong instinct was therefore to quietly return to his house in Conakry to continue his work as long as his strength lasted. Then when his time came, to face death with dignity. That was the decision he announced to his closest friends. His intention was to return immediately to Africa, end quote. He then goes on, that is Thelwell, to explain that they had to argue with Toure to make him accept the support from the community to get him the treatment he would get. And then they talk about a number of other Black doctors who would offer up treatment to him and support for him for free. So it wasn't Black capitalists per se stepping in to save Toure. It was a community of, in this case, relatively well-positioned professionals who, out of Pan-African, communist, pan-socialist solidarity, offered their services to support the brother at the end of his life after he dedicated his whole life to the people and got almost nothing for it. In fact, I think I'd have to argue was a net loss that he took for the struggle for the people. So this idea that it's at all capitalism that is helpful or beneficial, when the man is himself saying, I'd rather die in Africa without dealing with any of this, and having to have any of it forced on him, that is the assistance, is, again, it's a total distortion of not only Toure himself, but of the capitalist society that he was struggling to destroy. And as, again, Diallo, I think you're right in pointing out this idea that anything that they would have, given back was ultimately meant to be, was ultimately the initial theft, or, from the people in the first place. So yeah, go ahead. Cause there's one other thing I wanted to share, but go ahead. Yeah,
I want to throw this question on here, and then Diallo, I would love for you to respond to this. Namely, we had a capitalist panel or Black capitalism panel a while ago, and you've made this really solid point about entrepreneurship. So again, this idea of we talking shit about all people who sell their labor's talents or whatever the case may be. What does it mean to be an entrepreneur, and why should this idea of selling services, selling products to poor people is not necessarily helping them? But go ahead and respond to that.
First of all, entrepreneurialism is not synonymous with capitalism. Capitalism has contaminated certain things that have existed long before capitalism was a concept, long before capitalism came about. People were engaged in commerce, trade, business, developing services and products and bringing them to market without capitalism existing. Capitalism is a very specific mentality. It's a very specific ideology. It's a very specific group of economic policies. So I don't have a problem if you live in the United States and you're trying to navigate this system and you choose to go about it by starting a business. I have no issue with that. I have an issue when you go to the public and sell those behaviors as a solution for the problems that afflict us collectively, or sell yourself as an authority based on your capacity to engage in business or trade. So if you are an entrepreneur, there are different types of entrepreneurs. I mean, I've ran business. I've never saw myself as a capitalist. I never behaved as a capitalist. And I've never in my life had capitalist ambitions. But I have had interest in businesses of earning. I've ran vegan restaurants. I've had vegan catering service. But I did not conduct myself as a capitalist. I did not have capitalist goals and ambitions. So I think that just like Western culture has contaminated or captured certain concepts and things and enveloped it and say, you know, most Black people that are in business in spite of capitalism, not because of capitalism. And most people who call themselves capitalists or identify as capitalists are not engaged in capitalism, have never benefited from capitalism. And most of the opportunities presented to them that allows them to run business and other things are a byproduct of socialistic policies that really violate the tenets and the practices of capitalism.
BPM is an LLC. I mean,
oh shit!
It's so
I didn't know. Where's the log off button?
Yeah, I didn't know. But let me share. I'll show you. But to the point that you're making, it's obviously not run in that. But check this out. This is from Stokely Speaks, from Black Power to Pan-Africanism. One of the speech. I think this is the one he gave at Morgan State. In fact, but this speaks to what Diallo is saying, and I think is part would be my own response. So he says, let me explain it. Many people in this country are running around talking about Black capitalism and Black capitalists. Those people who are doing that do not understand capitalism. Karl Marx defines capitalist. He says that a capitalist is someone who owns and controls the means of production. He is absolutely correct. There is no other definition for a capitalist. There are people who work for capitalists called the bourgeoisie. These are people who serve the interests of capitalism. Lenin calls them the lackeys of capitalism. Mao Zedong calls them the running dogs of capitalism. There are potential capitalists, there are aspiring capitalists, but only the capitalist is someone who actually owns and controls the means of production. If you understand this definition according to Marx, then you will know that there is no such thing as a Black capitalist anywhere in the world today. So, he goes on and to make the point here that according to Marx, this group called capitalists Marx says that capitalists are death. There is no hope for the capitalists. According to Marx, they must be killed. He says their underlying motive is profit. They will do anything for profit. So you can never stop them or get any concessions from them. They must be killed. So it's hard, again, you don't have to agree with the then Stokely or the later Kwame Toure in his analysis of capitalism and Black capitalism, but to parade his name and promote, again, as Diallo, I think you were saying that not only to wrap yourself in his name, but then parade the antithesis of his argument as the solution and the revolution is really inexcusable. And to the extent that Mike knows better, and I never, it's always hard for me to assess how much he knows what he's doing consciously. It's shameful, but either way, it's ignorant and incorrect.
But that I think that's the reason why we have to, I guess, grapple with the concept of conscious rapper, because that's what he's doing by putting Kwame Toure, Stokely Carmichael name in front of white people, in front of our people. We're gonna like, oh, he's conscious, and everything else he do is conscious. So just a name drop just throws you into the conscious category.
And I think I call them high consumption capacity. That's what they HCCs. They have high consumption capacity. And people think being able to consume or having, a large amount of fiat qualifies you as a capitalist. And I think it's been, and I think that the capitalists have cultivated this myth because it allows them to, number one, look like there's a larger number of capitalists than there actually are, which allows them to have a buffer. So even when the people start to lash out, they want to go out and lash out against the inequality, and they go and throwing bricks at some brother in the hood's BMW, thinking, oh, he's the capitalist, when it's just these certain people within the system, especially Black people, have a really high consumption capacity, and they think, well, I'm a capitalist because I got these houses, I got this stuff. When, as you said, they have no control over the means of production. And we've even seen various capitalist Black people who amass a lot of fiat and then try to secure the means of production through non-military means, and they are thwarted every step of the way. So like when Cosby tried to buy NBC.
So I appreciate that the white boy, the older white boy, was pretty much grilling. He was grilling them the whole time, because even when he asked him about the bank, this is actually my first time hearing him get corrected, being like, oh, it's actually not a bank. It's a banking app. But there's actually a bank, a white bank with whiteboard, white money, who actually behind them.
So the other day, I actually did a whole video about this. I'll pull up the link you just sent, Geechee, and I'll put the link to that in the show description for this. That is the video that I did, where I actually went into this whole thing here about the Coastal Bank backing of Greenwood Bank. And there was a slight correction, and big shout out to Jordan for catching this. And I put it as a comment. Well, I'll show that in a second. Let me just finish showing this here. But this is the bank. And actually, I don't even think this is the same. This isn't the same Coastal Bank. This is another group. I'll show you the one that because and you were right that, like, in his recent, that is Mike's recent visit with Earn Your Leisure, he makes all kinds of mistakes, and he's asked, I never remember these brothers' names, which one is which, but this guy over here asks him about it being a bank. And you see Mike, well, it's yes, but it's not really a bank, but just quickly, I made an error because I said I had mistakenly read that the $5 million had gone to Martin Luther King III and Andy Young for the Greenwood Bank promotion, but that had been for a previous project that they had been working with one of the founders of the Greenwood Bank. But I remain correct in that both Andy Young and Mike are described in the referenced article as receiving equity as brand ambassadors for Greenwood. So in other words, when you see Mike talking about Greenwood Bank, he's not just promoting falsely Greenwood as a bank or even as a banking app, or falsely promoting it as something that is as a solution to Black inequality. He's doing it as a paid spokesperson, co-founder, and an equity partner in the project. So he benefits financially. And I thought I had the link here, but I guess I didn't put, but anyway, I'll show you the Coastal, it's Coastal Carolina Bank is the group. Oh, maybe it
Coastal
is the same.
Yeah, it's Coastal Community. Yeah, that's the corporation.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So I had just maybe found a different page because I was
Yeah,
just
yeah.
looking at a different page. That's all. My bad. So yeah, because this is the leadership that I was talking about. You're right. Coastal Community Bank. This is the bank that backs the Greenwood project.
Wait, that's Killer Mike. Oh no, that's not Killer Mike. Never mind.
Nope.
Thought that was Killer Mike.
Nope. There's no Mike's Killer or Cuddly in that group. And the point of the article that I was referencing in that video is that it's a Bloomberg article actually breaking down what is in fact the Greenwood app. And it's showing it as it's the black version of Robinhood, which was for young white hip investors who want to get into the game. So they have this cool little gateway app to get into. There was another one the article references for like environmentally friendly folks. Like if you want to environmentally friendly invest, you come through this app.
It's
and then
too
the
much.
Greenwood app is the black version. If you're black or Latinx and want to get into the market, you go through
money
them.
is money. Hey, listen, soon as I finish paying off my Rush card, I'm going.
And that's what it was compared to, Diallo. That's exactly what it was
As soon as I
compared
finish
to.
paying off my Rush card, I'm gonna download that Greenwood app, and I'm gonna be buying people tickets to fly their ancestors back to Africa. That's what Black power is. That's real Black empowerment.
What Mike was really doing in this video is literally
they want to have black businesses and not just go to the white businesses, and they should have.
That's exactly what Nixon, I mean, he's literally carrying Nixon's message into the 21st century by redefining. And, again, Nixon was targeting specifically even Kwame Toure. Don't define Black power like he does. Define it this way. And then here's Mike literally doing that exact thing in 2023, redefining Kwame Toure as Richard Nixon's version of Black power as he sits between these two white billionaires trying to convince them he should become one of them.
So their banking app competitors are like Cash App and companies like that. So right? Oh, no.
More or less, yeah. Cash App wasn't named in that particular article, but so I don't know if there's a particular difference there. But it's basically that, yeah, that they are the black, the black doorway that they want black investors to walk through to basically gamble into the market. Then it's all back. So in other words, they get a transaction fee every time you engage the app and the bank, or move money here or put money there or whatever. But they're not an actual bank in the sense that they're not taking deposits and then investing it and then offering loans and this and that. All of that is done by the white bank that backs the app itself. So if you want a loan, you ultimately would have to get approved, and the money would have to come from that white bank.
Yeah.
Well, they have this thing called greenwashing when companies would do superficial shit that make it look ecological, and that kind of got exposed and people started shooting it down. And now I call this era of capitalism chocolate coating, capitalism. And then remember, we had the brief girl boss era, the girl boss. And now this is the chocolate coating on capitalism, just having some blackness on the surface, and behind the scenes it's business as usual. So this is chocolate coated capitalism.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that Killer Mike talks about his wife's friend is Pinky from Slutty Vegan, and she actually talked about viral banking. Viral, I think that's what it's called, but it's very similar to this. I think that's one of their competitors. So you see all these front-running black celebrity people with white banks right behind them.
Chocolate coating.
Chocolate coating.
I mean, that's why when we first started putting this, the early version of this show together, one of the first things we were doing is looking at that Invest Fest stuff from Earn Your Leisure and all of that. And it's chock full of white this, white that. They platform, all of the Grant Cardone platforming and all that kind of stuff. These are the black faces of white conservative politics, of white capital, of white banking. All of whom know that there's no pathway to equity or success for the black collective. in this way. It's a handful of people going to get some big checks, and the existing white established banking world will benefit almost exclusively.
Michael Render.
It's even worse than that, because the social capital is what worries me so much, because it gives many of these parasitic companies some validation. Like, these are good institutions, these are good people, this is a good system that can be like, if you're good, you know, like that bootstrap shit Cuddly Mike was talking about with oh yeah, you know, I'm just going to, because of my personal expertise, because of my personal excellence, because of my individual intelligence, I'm able to do all this shit, as opposed to the systems and institutions and the framework and the policies that allow you to do it. Oh no, because wherever you drop me, you know, that's the same shit. Remember they said about Elon Musk and these other people, if you just give them $5 and drop them in the middle of sub-Saharan Africa, if you give them $5 and just put them on a Native American reservation, within a month, within a year, they're going to be right back where they started, because it's their own individual personal brilliance that got them there.
It's Jay-Z. I sell ice to the winter, I sell fire at hell. I am a hustler, baby. I sell water to a whale.
And remember, he said he's still spending his crack money. He ain't even touched his rap money.
Put me
he made so much money selling crack. He's still spending crack money.
He ain't got it like that. Trust me. But listen,
Jerry.
my one-liner was Killer Mike or Michael Render making the world safer and cool for capital accumulation. Killer Mike, Michael Render. Give it up for Killer Mike. We ain't got no hand claps for Killer Mike.
Cuddly Mike.
Oh, big shout out to Sounds of Sane Elsewhere. Jill Scott played in Boston this Wednesday. She had a video full of civil rights figures playing in the background while they performed the song Brother. MLK, Huey P. Then they included 19 keys. Oh my God. Are you serious?
Shit. Somebody get the clip. Get the link. Send the link.
Man, send a link. Jill Scott. They got Jill.
Jilly from Philly. Oh, no, not no more.
I'm with you, sugar. Damn it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, Jilly, what you want? I don't put nothing past black folks, man. I don't put nothing past y'all. Like I said, I went to a Association of Black Psychologists meetings, and they open up their meetings with pouring libations. And somebody poured libations to Jesus Christ. So they were like, call out the ancestors and we'll pour libations, Ashe, you know. And they were literally like, Marcus Garvey, Ashe, Jesus Christ, Ashe. I kind of scooted back from the table. I mean, I don't put nothing past everything is everything.
Yeah, man. I told you, when I heard them pour libations to Colin Powell, I was done. No more Kwanzaa events for me. I'm done.
Oh, please. I got it better. They pour libations to Michael Jackson.
Man, you better leave Mike alone, man.
Hey, get off my man.
Wait, hold
on. Mike, saving the world, heal the world. Chill out.
So I was looking at, wait a minute. So, because let's see. I was looking again because Mike is always talking about his Andy Young connections.
Every interview, one of the greatest leaders that we had, he keeps saying Andy Young.
Andrew Young is quoted in this autobiography. Let's see, he cracked up. Well, Stokely, it's simple. Maybe I just don't talk about it. Besides, since when do you expect our media to be rational? Andrew Young, Black Power itself was something Martin disagreed with tactically. In fact, we said that all the time was Jews have power, but if you ever accuse them of power, they deny it. Catholics have power, but they always deny it. In a pluralistic society, to have real power, you have to deny it. And if you go around claiming power, the whole society turns on you and crushes you. It was not Black Power that he was against. It was the slogan Black Power, because he said, if you really have power, you don't need a slogan. I don't know.
You know, white folks don't have slogans. Proud to be an American.
Yeah, I was going to say,
white folks in power. You know, the Zionists had no slogans. You know, Theodore
Never
Herzl
forget.
Didn't
Never
campaign.
Forget.
You know, nationalism.
What was it? The land
Never
of no
again.
people, people with
Never
no
again.
land.
No other people have slogans.
As Two Black calls it, Store From, Chocolate Coating by Diallo, Fake Cryptoganda by Dr. Ball, Co-opted by Mainstream Capital. Yeah, thank you, ZZ Lion Dad. And by the way, shout out to Two Black and King Trill for their Pendleton 2 documentary. Please go watch that. Shout out to Breakthrough News and Eugene Puryear for the collabo we did last night in the post screening of that documentary. By the way, that story, that documentary that they did,
it's tough. That's some tough. That's
whoa.
That's good work.
Whoa. And while Mike is running around here not talking about Cop City, the Pendleton 2 case is a reminder that all of that needs to go. And the heroism of those brothers, man. Like, it's humbling. It's real humbling to wake up in the world today after watching that last night and be like, man, I've never, I don't like feeling this. I feel like I got punked last night watching that thing. I'm not a fan.
But listen, Two Black's line about how cats probably want to intervene, but they assume nobody will have their back, and it probably start a bunch of people from intervening. Like, I'm thinking, even when they were showing the George Floyd joint, like, it was maybe 8 of them, and obviously they don't have guns, but like, no point, would one of them look like they was gonna risk it all and go steal off on the dude on his neck? But that's a and supposedly didn't Tupac didn't he supposedly protect some people getting harassed by cops and shot the cop? Didn't that happen?
I believe that's how one of the but I don't know. I mean, listen, I think our guest is here. We can always come back to that, because in fact, the work that she does is it's a perfect segue to go from a brief mention of the Pendleton 2 case to what we're getting into. So if you want to, we can. I don't see her camera on yet, but if you want to, we can do a quick pause for the cause and come right back, and then you can set up Geechee what we're about to get into. So don't go anywhere. A lot more coming up right here on Earn Your Liberation among some of the world.
The coach's top thought leader.
And we'll be back here in just a second. Don't go anywhere. All right, back again. Geechee, what's about to happen?
So right now we're about to bring up Sister ML. Y'all seen her a couple times for multiple reasons of the work that she's doing. She's going to be talking about a brother, Sam Randolph, who was wrongfully convicted in 2003 and sentenced to the death penalty. He was also exonerated in 2022. And also, before that, he was assaulted in 2009 by some law enforcement, or pigs, shall we call them. And we're going to talk about that. So, ML, tell us what you got going on. If Sam is going to join us too as well.
And welcome back.
Thank you all. Good morning. And Sam should be here. He should be in the waiting room now. He was incarcerated for 20 years, so he is getting used to technology. But we've been messaging, so he told me he was logging in. So he should be on his way. But again, good morning, you all, and thank you for having me this morning. I'll say everybody but Diallo. Diallo be talking too much shit about St. Louis, and I be feeling some type of way.
Anytime, dog. Anytime y'all St. Louis, Kansas City all day. I'm KC. Anytime y'all want to come on up that I-70 highway and settle this beef, we ready.
All right. Last week you said something, and I texted Geechee. I said, tell him I said fuck him, but sorry. But yeah, I definitely appreciate
welcome.
You all this
We're
morning.
always happy to have you say that to his face right here, live and direct.
Listen, I don't be set tripping. If y'all just stop fronting like St. Louis is the premier city of Missouri, we just give us our props.
Okay, sounds good.
For barbecue,
we'll
baseball, jazz.
We'll try.
I'm sick of everybody talking about St. Louis when Kansas City really is the premier city.
Stop.
We even got better racism than y'all.
Now, wait a minute. I don't look now. I mean,
see, you're stuttering now. You're stuttering now. Don't put me in front of no St. Louis. Why we bringing St. Louis? Have we had a Kansas City person on here yet?
I got people in KC. My people was here last week. I got people over there.
Okay,
now,
we got that. Just represent. You got to represent.
But,
Come on.
But racism, I don't know. I will have to talk about the racism.
Yeah, we give y'all a run for the money.
It's bad.
Yeah.
But thank you all for having me. I appreciate it. So I definitely appreciate it very much. So last week, somebody sent me a GoFundMe, and I read it, and it upset me very much. First of all, this man was wrongfully convicted, and that's bad enough. But then, he was, and you called them law enforcement, Geechee. They ain't law enforcement. They the prison, race soldiers, as we like to call them. So, they abused him pretty badly. And when I was reading, I was thinking to myself, where is community? Now, Sam is from Philly. So, of course, and actually, interesting enough, about 3 weeks ago, Mike Africa Jr. was here in St. Louis. And he did a premiere of his documentary here. We had a discussion. But I was thinking when I read the GoFundMe, where is community? Where is the people in Philly, Pennsylvania? Where the niggas at? You know what I'm saying? That's every question. Anybody present a problem to me, I'm always trying to figure out where the black people at. Are they represented? Are they involved? Are they being listened to? Are they being centered? It don't even matter what the discussion is. I'm always trying to figure out where the black folks at. And so I reached out to Sam, and we spoke, and I really want to help him to be able to walk again. He was exonerated, but he's still trapped. He's still in prison, and right now it's in his own body. And so I really wanted to amplify his story. I started putting it out there to some people, to some media, trying to get some attention behind it, because the attorneys who are amazing, that got him out of prison and got him exonerated after almost 20 years. They did connect with a doctor who will operate on him. However, he needs other support. You know what I'm saying? It's more than just the surgery. He needs his people. He needs community. He needs to be able to heal. And so that's why I really wanted to start putting his story out and talking overall about our people and when they come out of these prisons. I mean, I know Geechee and I know somebody, Diallo and I know somebody in common, a guy named Ricky Kidd. Ricky was incarcerated for 23 years. And when he got out too, he was struggling. He was wrongfully convicted. He was exonerated in 2018, if I'm not mistaken, or 2019. And he struggled as well with many, many issues. And so it's when our people come out of these institutions, especially the ones that are innocent in the system, railroaded anyway, where are we at? What are we going to do? They come out with nothing for the most part. And it's just really a sad situation. And most of us don't even know these things are happening. So I just kind of wanted.
Well, I just was going to mention when Ricky went in, he was healthy and fit and came out with type 2 diabetes. A lot of brothers come out of those jails because of the quality of the food, the lack of sanitation. And I know we always joke about how inmates come out swole and very fit, but there's a big difference between fit and health that I don't think we understand. So yeah, that is something when people come out, not just the societal obstacles, but many brothers come out with chronic diseases, infections, blood-borne illnesses, and things of that nature, STDs. So
Did we lose ML? Let me.
She looks frozen.
Yeah, I think she froze.
Let me give her a chance to come on back. But no, all of those are good points. Even that last one, I think in general, it's a problem, or at least for maybe, I don't know about today, but in my generation, certainly there was a problem with how we approach the gym, and this idea that if we just put some muscle on, we healthy.
Yeah.
And no. So yeah.
It is definitely. I mean, I worked in a prison infirmary for years, and it is definitely it's a very unhealthy environment in terms of trying to maintain your health and wellness.
Right on. ML, we got you back.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I live in the hood still, so internet's a little funny over here.
So tell us about, is this so once the pigs attacked him, like what was some of the causes, like what was he doing in the prisons that made them want to attack him? And then what was the answer to the state once he was released? Was there any talks about payment, or like how did they respond to the attacks?
Well, I'll talk about his attack and why they did it. And I mean, of course, the state ain't gonna do nothing. I don't know why you asked that part. But so when I spoke with Sam, like I said, I spoke to him a couple of times so far. We just got acquainted last week. And the conversations that I had with him, I had that question too. Like, what was going on in prison to where they did this? Now, prison's prison, so they do abuse people. But I was told, I mean, there are some extreme cases, and Sam is definitely an extreme case. And so he had told me that basically he was a person who was advocating inside of prisons. I love to hear when our people are in those situations and they're speaking up for themselves and others. They're trying to hold the system accountable as much as they can. That's something that I did as well. And so he was inside, he was helping the brothers, file complaints, look up, legal resources and those sorts of things. And whenever you're trying to spread knowledge, help people, help yourself, the system don't like that. And he had explained to me that the guards, the staff did not like him. And when you're on death row in Pennsylvania, you're in basically administrative segregation. And when you go out to the yard, which is, a caged area outside, you're handcuffed. And they took him out to the yard one particular day. He was handcuffed. And when they started to walk him out, I believe one of the officers kicked him in the back and made him fall. And basically they beat him. They basically knocked him down and beat him severely in his back area, which caused the injuries to where he cannot walk today. So he has some, and of course, I'm not a doctor, but he has some issues with his spine, and he needs a surgery in order to be able to walk. He is not permanently, a quadriplegic or paralyzed, thankfully, but he was hurt severely enough to where he needs to have corrective surgery on his back in order to be able to walk and to sit up. But that's why they did it. They did it because they didn't like him, because he was a person who, advocated for himself and others. And whenever you do that in prison, you are seen as a problem. And so, they take out their frustration and their anger and their racism on you. And Sam, suffered severely for that. And so that's how and this happened in 2009. So he was exonerated last year. It's almost a year. In April, it'll be a year. But this happened in 2009. So for the last 13 years, 14 years, he was basically in a cell and temporarily paralyzed because they weren't going to help him do the surgery. They did, they abused him and left him like that, but they weren't trying to get a spinal surgeon expert to come in and do surgery on him. That's not, they were not going to do that. But so that's what happened. And just even hearing him tell the story is just angering, because it's like a person who is innocent anyway, right? And they're being abused in this manner. And so when they are exonerated, again, they're not actually free. They're still trapped in their own body. Now, as far as what the prison's doing, I do believe that Sam has attorneys who are trying to file suits. I don't know the details of the legal situation. That's not my part, but I do believe that he has attorneys that are, trying to do some litigation. Of course, we know any settlement will take years, so I don't know the process on that right now, where it's at, but he does have some folks who are litigating. But right now, in the interim, Sam will be out of prison for a year next month, and he has not had this surgery because he can't afford it, right? He can't afford so after he was exonerated and let out of prison, his attorneys did find a doctor. So there's a doctor in LA, Los Angeles, who will operate on Sam. And he said he'll do it for free, which is great. He actually put a little video on the GoFundMe. But it's more than just a surgery, right? First of all, you got to get to the LA. He in Philly. That's across the country. And he needs a medical transport because he can't sit in the regular airplane seat. So he needs medical transport. He needs rehab. He needs so many things that he doesn't have the money for. So until he gets the finances to do that, they're not able to do the actual surgery. And just learning that he's been home almost a year and he's still basically paralyzed, not able to move a lot, that's pretty disturbing for me, just because, he should have had the surgery the day after he got out of prison, you ask me, and he should be on his way to recovery, but he's not. He is still struggling. So I, connected with him, like I said, trying to get the word out about his particular case. I made a Bitly link for his GoFundMe because it's easy. When we're trying to get information out, it's easy to do things. So the link is called Help Sam Walk Again. So bit.ly/Help Sam Walk. That's the GoFundMe, but I'm really trying to, like I said, connect with local folks. Like I said, I did talk to Mike, and Mike Africa Jr. is going to be getting involved. So I really want to get community, the East Coast, people in New York, Philly, etc., understanding that this happened to Sam and it's horrible, and it happens to so many other people. Not to that extent, but it happens.
Can you drop the link in the chat? Is that possible? Because the link that when I type it in, it's somehow not working. So I just want to make sure I have it right. bit.ly/Help Sam Walk Again. Bit.ly Help Sam Walk. Yeah, for some reason it's coming up as something wrong, but anyway.
And also, so I know you're not a doctor, obviously, and you said he was in prison in that condition for 13 years, and it's been over a year him being exonerated. Two questions: is there, the longer this take, is that going to make it harder to actually get corrective surgery? And is it possible that the doctors and equipment or whatever could be brought to Philly, or is it just he has to go out there to LA?
That's the situation that I've been told, right? And I don't know, as far as the length of time it takes to get the surgery, I'm assuming it's not going to make it worse, because he had been, like you said, in prison for many years before he even got out in the same condition. He has been evaluated by the doctor, so the doctor has said, he can do the surgery and it will be successful. But as far as them coming to Philly, I guess the doctor is a LA doctor and he wants to do it there. I don't know the logistics on why he can't come to Philly, etc. But that's what Sam has been told, that he would have to get to LA. He would have to have a medical transport, so not just a regular, regular airplane, and also rehab. He's got to have months and months of rehabilitation. So
and it's also licensing. Physicians and facilities and insurance, you can't go and use another house if you don't have privileges at a facility, because if it's a surgical facility, doctors can't just go from operating room to operating room. They need to, in order to admit patients, to see patients, and to utilize facilities. I mean, hospitals are administered by accountants and lawyers, not physicians, and so I can't imagine a facility just allowing. It's not as simple as just come there and just walk into any random operating room. The logistics,
but also let them be in their comfort zone. You know what I'm saying? Let them be as comfortable as you need to be when you're doing all of that. Be more space. Anyway, yeah.
But it is very much a situation on if you can, like I said, privileges at the hospital.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
and so I do think that, with that doctor being able to do the surgery, that's amazing. right? That's great. But I think that, and when I read it, I was like, okay, great. The doctor's offering the surgery. He's still been home a year and ain't had the surgery yet. So what's going on? You know what I'm saying? That's where I'm at. I'm like, okay, I can do the math. And so it's been a year next month. He's been home. I spoke with him and he just can't, they want to prove the actual surgery until he has the money, saved or together to where he can have everything else that he needs. And so I think that as community, we should come together, but also, and I'm always down for white folk doing what they're supposed to do. So I'm talking to them as well, because they need to throw down, because these are their systems. And, when we talking about reparations, right, there's a whole issue around that. But right now, Sam needs his reparations. And right now it's going to be about getting him, the surgery that he needs. So, connecting with them as well. And I think that, because when he came home last year and, the interim, his attorneys have gotten information out. The Pennsylvania Innocence Project was helping him as well. And that's great. But my question was, do the people in Philly know? Do people in Pennsylvania know? Do people all over, in our urban communities, do we understand what is happening with these particular people when they're exonerated, when they're coming home, when they're struggling? In my state, we have 2 death row exonerees who are suffering and struggling. One of them, last week, his car was wrecked when he came to St. Louis. They actually live in Kansas City. And he came here to do an event, and he drove back home and got in an accident on the highway and wrecked his car. And he's, he got a regular job. He's struggling and suffering. So we have a GoFundMe for him, trying to raise money to get him a car. So our people are so needy right now, especially those people that are coming out these institutions with nothing. When you're exonerated, they don't give you nothing out of prison. You ain't on parole. You don't get like sometimes they give you services, right? Employment help, bus passes, etc. Exonerated, you're not on parole. You know what I'm saying? You don't come out the system attached to them whatsoever. They don't monitor you. You don't go see a PO. So you don't have anything. And that's something that we need to change in this country, especially within the system, but also our people. People don't understand how easy it is to get wrongfully convicted and the struggle it is when you are finally freed.
Wow, right. It's one of the points that kind of similar to what we were just talking about in the last hour, when in the somewhat facetious comparison between Dead Prez and Killer Mike. I remember one of the key differences between those two is that Dead Prez used to talk about all the time the difficulty they had reaching their target audience, that the media structure, the music industry, all directed them to be more popular, if at all, among white audiences. And they had a hard time reaching their Black communities because urban radio, Black radio wouldn't play them. So when I hear you and many other activists saying what you're saying, it feels like a very similar problem, that the structure of our media environment, among other things, doesn't make it easy, despite all the technology and the whatever, to get messages to specific populations that have been themselves captured by other entities. So I don't necessarily have a question or a real point there, but it just was a thought that crossed my mind as I heard you saying again. And I know this is always a problem, the ability to reach Black communities with important messages when so much of their attention has been grabbed up by whoever else. So anyway.
I know that the media will talk, of course, we all know this. They'll talk about when niggas doing something bad, right? When you shoot somebody, kill somebody, selling some drugs, they will put your picture, your mugshot all over the news. But when it's something where you need some help, when a system has done you wrong, I mean, they might run a quick story. I'm sure they have in Philly. I ain't there, of course, I don't know. I'm sure they have, but it is not something that they're going to loop, in their feed all day, across the bottom, whatever that ticker thing is. They're not going to do all that. Because it's first of all, when even specifically hearing Sam's story, and I heard he was exonerated from death row, and that's amazing. My main question was, okay, so the CEOs was able to beat the hell out of him, and ain't nobody did nothing about it. So in his particular case, it is very much a situation where the system needs held accountable specifically for the abuse and the assault on him. It's not just the court messed up by wrongfully convicting him. that's a whole nother situation, and I deal with that every day. But the fact that these guards, these COs, these corrections officers almost killed him. And lastly, I want to say this: when I spoke to Sam, he told me after the situation, he didn't stop his activism. He kept holding the system accountable best he could. He kept helping other people, and they did a few hunger strikes. And I've heard of this actually right now. I think in an Alabama prison there are some people on hunger strike, but Sam and some other folks on death row in Pennsylvania have done hunger strikes. And he said at one point the prison went to court because, of course, they're thinking these people are going to die. They went to court and got a court order to feed them. Okay. And they did that with the tube, like if the liquid food or whatever. And he said when they put it in him, they put it in his lung and not in his esophagus to his stomach. So they almost drowned him. And that was funny. They didn't care. They basically had almost killed this man several times. I'm surprised he even heard it, honestly, because he's like, and then I only hear he's in his right mind, right? But so the system has tried to kill him several times, and that needs to be talked about. And when I was talking to some people, I say, yeah, his exoneration is great, but I want to talk about the trauma and the assault and abuse in prison and how they've been able to get away with that, and not just on a legal aspect, because I'm sure his attorneys are taking care of it, but just our people. I talk to people all the time that say you get 3 hots in a cot. Men go to prison, they don't do nothing but call women to tell them send them money. And the prison wives shows and all that stuff that's always making fun of people in prison, etc. But we need to understand our people are being harmed in these systems. They're being traumatized, they're being abused. It's not just the guys in prison are looking to use women. I'm sure that happens. But more people don't talk about those aspects of the harm the system causes, but they love to look at the prison wives, whatever the hell the show is called, about people coming out and how they're having issues with their relationship. But they just been in prison for decades and they mentally messed up because of the trauma that prison caused. And we don't talk about that as much.
Right. So I'm not sure if the brother was able to join. But Diallo, let me hear you say the word here. Let me hear you say here.
Here.
Oh yeah, St. Louis better. Never mind. We good. She said her, and you said her, so.
Here.
Kansas City.
That's what I said. St. Louis brings down the whole state.
Y'all can fly somewhere now. Hey, but real quick, I want
been gone too long. He just been gone too long.
I want ML to answer this question, but also Jared.
I made it out. I'm a success
Jared to be great at answer this question. So, is monetary compensation more justification for continued capitalism? The hard question. Is that justice? So ML can answer that, but also Jared, I want you to chime in on that too.
Is monetary compensation more justification for continued? Oh, so in other words, if we just go ahead. I got you. Go ahead, ML. Go ahead.
Yeah, you getting me started. Okay, so well, here's the thing. If it wasn't for capitalism in the system, our people were first of all the first capital. When we talk about capitalism, I want to explain to people, you were the capital. You were the monetary. Before they had this green dollar, it was your ass on the block getting sold. So I don't even like the issue of capitalism is so like, I'm thinking about my people. I'm thinking about my people being bought and sold. I'm thinking about the ads in the paper talking about, us like we're some type of animal. And so that in itself tells me we don't need capitalism because we was the first fucking money. Right. But the compensation, again, most people are not capitalists. We are in the system and we got to work and deal and get a job, etc. But we don't own the production. We don't own the means. We don't own the resources. They're stealing them from the motherland anyway. So no, capitalism is not, or compensation for these issues is not a reason to continue capitalism. I want to, dismantle this entire thing, especially starting with capitalism, because that's where it started. When our people became the money, those are when all the problems began. So, and if we got rid of that, wouldn't nobody need compensation? We got rid of capitalism, the systems that, put people in prison, mass incarceration, make money off of us. We would not need any compensation because we wouldn't be up in them places anyway. So that's kind of my take on it. What do you think, Dr. Ball?
Ditto. That's it. That's it. I really have nothing to add other than I would just say that just to speak specifically to the question that, yeah, when people we're given this idea that people give money, just like we were talking about last hour, this idea that if someone can come in and give money to help a certain situation, then isn't that evidence that the process by which they earn that money is justified? And no, obviously. So there is no balance here. So everything it was perfectly said. Why? Yeah. The initial exploitation is what created the position that they're in to help out someone who is now suffering because of that situation, that process. So why would they get credit for that? But it does work that way. We hear a lot about philanthropy. It works that way, and it's meant to not only hide people's taxes, but to be a propaganda tool to walk people away psychologically from the struggle we need to engage. But yeah, sorry, go ahead. Yeah,
it's like I'm sorry.
No, go ahead,
He got selective hearing. This guy got selective hearing, I think.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, it's as though you
can't
participate and be a victim at the same time, as if participation and victimhood are exclusive. You know, so I think Killer Mike is just, articulating another fallacy, meaning that if you're out here hustling, you're out here grinding, you're out here making money, then you're not a victim. That is extremely
and create, or that you're not creating more victims. Like
right.
You're out here you're so it's total nonsense. This,
right.
we gotta participate in it or just be crushed by it. And you're being crushed by it as you attempt to participate in it. It's
right. So I don't understand what participate or be a victim. Or you can participate and be a victim, or you can resist and be a victim.
Hey, like we saw in the documentary.
You have to. But you have to participate in the system right now. I mean, this is what it is, right? That reminds me like a fish in water. You know what I'm saying? Even if the fish didn't like the water at this moment, right? That's what they need to survive. So even if you are participating in capitalism, you don't have to harm anybody like us. You know what I'm saying? We're just working, struggling, trying to survive. We're not harming people, but there are people who are in the system that are harming folks, right? But we are just trying to survive. So even having to navigate capitalism in this system every single day does not negate the fact that we are still being, traumatized, oppressed, and we are victims of it. And when you mentioned philanthropy, Dr. Ball, we call that the NPIC, nonprofit industrial complex.
That's
and
right.
That is the hamster wheel that keeps us doing what we're doing, right? I would love not to be able to be in this particular work. I would love not to be re-traumatized myself because I'm fighting for niggas who on death row and they're about to kill. I would love for that not to happen. However, because our system is, the way that it is, and in this nonprofit industrial complex world, I got to go beg basically white folks in order to give me some money so I can help the niggas where the white people system put them in there. But
it's like exactly, and it's very much like the documentary we saw last night. There's a scene where I forgot which one, but one of the brothers was talking about he had been put in solitary confinement, and as punishment for his work in his defense of someone else in the prison, the guards would come in there, and whenever they felt like it, and at the beginning they would handcuff him and then beat him. So his response was, I'm not going to just let you handcuff me and beat me. So he said, I fought back. And my point that I'm making is he didn't change the fact that he was still locked up. He didn't change the fact that he was still incarcerated. What he changed was the way he engaged that situation. So, and it's not a judgment. It's just to say he engaged through fighting back. Others would engage through capitulation, maybe snitching, maybe complete collapse and acceptance of the trauma and that situation. But the point is that to suggest that there is only one method of response and that the capitulation side or the acceptance side is the solution in the revolution is that's the mythology that bothers me so much. I understand why people make the decisions that they make. but I don't, even if I don't agree with them,
and what's even
but I
more
don't accept that one is better than one is a solution and one is the only path. Anyway,
but what's even more tragic than that is those people who do the participate. Their participation is a byproduct of resistance and a byproduct of mass organization and a byproduct of concessions made to the masses earned through resistance and sacrifice of other people. So even if you are an individual like Cuddly Mike, who want to say, well, I'm going to participate in capitalism, your ability to participate is still a byproduct and was born out of the struggle, not born out of the benevolence of capitalists or born out of the benevolence of the racists or born out of your own individual personal brilliance and perseverance. So even whether you submit and try to be a part of the system, you've only have those options available to you as a byproduct. And as mass struggle, as mass consciousness erodes, so does the opportunities for the sellouts who don't support and engage the struggle. Because we see a lot of those concessions made through mass struggle being repealed and reversed.
Anyway, so
there.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Sam. Like I said, he's new to this. He's in the YouTube chat, but he's not on the StreamYard. Again, he's been in prison 20 years, so we're gonna have to cut the brother some slack. But I just sent him the StreamYard chat link again, and hopefully he'll be on in a minute. I've dealt with so many people that's come home and don't know what to do with phones. You know what I'm saying? Like it's in this technology is very difficult for them to adjust. So that's one thing I've helped people with, trying to know how to use their phone, because it's just not easy. But yeah.
Yeah, no, it's no problem. I think that
here we go.
Got him. Here we go. There we go. Yep.
And I know the mocking Killer Mike.
Welcome.
The mocking comments will come. What's up, brother?
All right. Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Welcome.
Good morning.
No,
Happy to
pleasure.
join
It's
y'all.
a pleasure. Yeah. Right on. Welcome.
Thank you, Sam. How you doing?
All right. I'm doing all right. Making it. Today is one of my better days in terms of the pain. Set this up. I'm laying in the bed, so I'm on my side. 1 second. I'm trying to
It's
balance.
all good. Oh no, just so this happens all the time. Like, so people, just real quick, people try to remember, like, when your first time watching this show or this platform doesn't mean it's the first show or the first time the platform has existed. Like, you didn't bring us into existence by viewing. Like
Jesus.
Go back. Yeah, like, go check some of the links. Like,
ain't nobody scared of Cuddly Mike.
I mean,
let it come through.
He's been invited. He's been reached out to. We've been in backs and forth. He only just recently told me not to text him anymore because I reached out to him again to invite him back. And he said, leave me alone. And I'm not going to be a pest. So you say that once, you're never going to hear from me again. But it's always an invitation. Like, that has never been the issue. And by the way, if we really go back to it, as far as my work is concerned, he started it by going on Instagram, holding up a copy of my book, talking about how he's reading it as he's reading Thomas Sowell. So and I only reached out to him to say, like, those are mutually exclusive works. So, like, you got to pick one. Like, you can't. There's no synthesizing those works. But so anyway, just to be clear on that, and I don't mean to sully the time we have with Brother Sam, but I did see that comment, and just anyway. So anyway, just be clear. So Rob didn't bring us into existence by turning us on. Oh man, that's hilarious.
Yeah, I was gonna start and say that for later, but so Brother Sam.
My bad. Sorry about that.
It's cool. She told us a good bit about the story, but I think maybe one of my first questions was this idea of, like, what was behind the inspiration of, like, fighting for one, maintaining your innocence. I know there was a couple times when they was like, just plead guilty, plead out, and you'll come home sooner. Like, what was some of the inspiration behind maintaining your innocence and also even struggling for your comrades inside the cell?
Oh, okay. So from day one, I always, spoke about my innocence. And so the minute I landed on death row, I jumped right in the law library and fighting, and I always believed that I could prove and establish that, right? So once I got there, they were notorious for assaulting prisoners and being very abusive out there in SCI Green in Pennsylvania. And on death row, it's only two places you can go: eastern side of the state and the western side of the state because of our status. And so the minute I got there, I was just right in the midst. They just threw me right in the midst. They with the retaliation, if you fight and file grievances, that's what I always did, to stop the abuse and stuff. I shed light on it by fighting back and filing grievances and stuff. So that's what put a target on me. But yeah, I never wavered from my innocence, and that was just in me to fight back, fight against the system when you're being wrong. And that's what I did.
So when you said that could you say a little bit more about that initial? Cause if I heard you correctly, you said that immediately once you're thrown in, there's the abuse is immediate, and sort of what we were just talking about a minute ago in terms of various responses people have to the trauma. Could you talk a little bit about that? So you're thrown into prison, and then like. The police, the guard violence begins immediately, is what you're saying. As a way, I guess, to indoctrinate you into what the situation is going to be, and then from the beginning, you're saying you set up a sort of resistance response to that, and that puts you in a pattern or a path to be targeted. Did I get that right? Am I hearing that correctly?
Absolutely. Yep, you're right on point. So for me, the minute I was found guilty and convicted and sentenced to death, they're supposed to do to officially sentence you a pre-sentence investigation. Takes 60 days, and you'll come back. You'll come back to court. They officially sentence you when you await the local county while you're waiting that sentence. For me, from the courtroom, the day they came back with death, they immediately shipped me straight to death row. So I went to death row. When I got there, I was in a place called Camp Hill. I stopped in Camp Hill. It was a place called, I was waiting to go to Green. That's where the official death row was. But the minute I'd even landed at Camp Hill, they didn't feed me that night. They play games like that, extremely racist. So I experienced that. And then if you when you fight back, say, what about my food? Or you start fighting about being, because they'll go right past your cell and starve you. Like, they don't care. And then you speak about your innocent and what you're going through. They say, yeah, everybody's innocent. Yeah, whatever. And they do stuff like that, right? But the minute I got out to SCI Green out there, where death row was, went on there. They come on, and a lot of the guards, not all of them, but a lot of them come to work. They can't wait till they get to work so they can like torture people. That's what they do. It's not enough that you're already there, and that's not their job, to come to work and try to abuse people. But a lot of them, especially on that western side of the state, it's Trump land. They come in there, and they hate prisoners. Just like they say, they can't wait to get to work to terrorize people, and that's what they do. They got bloody, notorious history for doing that. Not just against me, a lot of those prisoners in there, and they'll come to work, wake you up, and being on death row, it's isolation. So the only time you come out your cell is when you go to the yard. So a lot of them, like, what they like to do is take your yard from you, so you just remain isolated 24 hours a day. They fabricate stuff and make up stories. They come to work, and so I experienced it early on. Soon I got there. Once I seen it, once it was happening to me, that's when I started fighting back against it by filing grievances and stuff. That's what we had to do. We had to file grievances. So I was able to do that, and that's what became a target. And they really started targeting me for retaliation, for fighting back and standing up against it.
Man. Yeah. Diallo, you're muted. Yeah.
Yeah, so the sadism and the sadistic behavior of the guards, I mean, from your point of view, what do you think that you think it was strictly rooted in racism or something beyond that?
I mean, when they use they don't got no problem calling you niggas and stuff like that. So a lot of that, they let you know they hate you because you black. They hate you because you went in jail. They don't even care. They think everybody's guilty in there. You know, and you deserve whatever they do to you, you deserve it. So that's the mindset that you're going against in there.
And there was no oversight or regulation of their behavior.
Oh no, they denied all your grievances. I filed literally thousands of grievances, like literally thousands. And they're all designed. No matter what you say, evidence you present, they deny it. And the reason they do that is because they don't want to admit to anything. Because a lot of people, we file lawsuits, anything they admit to, they know is coming back in court, so they deny it. So it's bogus. Even the system, the oversight, when they review it, it's being reviewed by their colleagues. That's part of it. You know, they sanctioned it, so they just deny it. Act like it didn't happen. Like in my particular case, because of death row status, it's just one example. Because death row status, security cameras everywhere, right? So they're taking me to the yard, and I'm handcuffed behind my back. This is when they assault me, right? The whole assault was caught on camera, right? When these people, instead of presenting that video, they said, "Oh, that video wasn't working. That camera was down that day." You know, because they was lying, because the whole assault, you know, it would show them assault me. I'm handcuffed behind my back and defenseless, and being assaulted by 3 officers, right? Banging my head into the wall. That's how I got injured. And they picked me up and slammed me to the ground. 2 of them landed on my back and spine. That's what caused the injuries. But they act like the video camera wasn't working. You know, we tried to file and get that produced. And they said, "Oh, that camera wasn't working." But anytime any camera goes down anywhere, they immediately fix it, especially on death row. But that day, they act like all of a sudden that camera wasn't working. But that's just little games and stuff they play like that. So
hey man, I know it don't mean much, man, but I just another additional round of apologies, and I feel terrible, man. Just my own little relatively little back issues, man. I can't even imagine what you must have to be going through and had to have gone through while in prison. Because even outside with full health care, it's back issues are a mess, and if they are created by violent injury, and then in that condition, I just think what you've had to endure is amazing. So I just want to shout out to you for more, you know, in addition to that. And I did want to ask you though, you know, in addition to Last Hour and to this special that we've been helping cover around here about the Pendleton 2 case, which is again similar. There's this similar thread I'm noticing about what encourages you all to respond that way. Like you mentioned when you get thrown into death row, you are welcomed into this new policy of abuse and situation of abuse. What was it that? How was it that you responded or resisted in the way that you did? Like, was there a network of support? Was there some sort of effort within the prison of organized prisoner response, or was this just something that's just part of your own individual character? In other words, what helped you not succumb totally and just say it is what it is? I just have to, you know, quietly accept it.
It's who I am. You know, when I'm being attacked, especially by oppression. You know, when it's wrong and it ain't justified, I definitely fight back, and that was always in me. That's actually what helped me survive. Is my mindset. You know, to keep fighting no matter what, right? No matter how hard it gets, and prove that. So that was the motivation. It was already in me to fight, and even today, even though I made it out, I still want to reach back and use my platform and utilize that to help others. You know, that I left there, because there's a lot of people in my situation, you know, that I left behind, and that's still part of me. So it's a passion of mine, always been, and that's what I want to continue to do. So yeah, it's just a part of who I am.
Right on.
I wanted to add something real quick. about Diallo's comment concerning, accountability, et cetera, with the system. And I wanted to bring everybody back a little bit. We remember in '94 when Clinton passed the crime bill, right? And we remember, that time was horrible. But there were other bills, criminal law bills passed during that time. And one of them is called a PLRA, Prison Litigation Reform Act. And that particular law, and shout out to Mumia, Free Mumia, he wrote about this bill. He wrote about this law in a book that I've read several times. But that particular bill law basically stopped a lot of incarcerated people from being able to, litigate on their behalf. They started saying, oh, this is frivolous. People in prison suing over silly stuff. But that wasn't it. A lot of people in prison were suing over their rights, their abuse, etc. But when the PLRA passed, it stopped people from being able to file certain suits. It said that you had to go through the entire administrative process in the prison, which can take years to do all of those, complaints. So that one, I think PLRA was, in '96, if I'm not mistaken. But that one particular law harmed so many people. And again, if you all have not read the book, is it the Prisoner's Law Handbook? I think Mumia's book is called. I can't remember the title, but he wrote a book about this issue, and it is an amazing read. More jailhouse lawyers back at that time, 80s and 90s, were getting people out of prison. But today, that's less prevalent because they are limited in being able to file a suit, which means now people like Sam, other people who are being abused on the inside don't have a lot of recourse because they can't even litigate on their own for the most part. So I just wanted to throw that in there as well.
All right, on. I think this is the book you're talking about, if I'm not mistaken.
The funny story about this book, when I checked it out in the prison, and you can keep the book, I think 2 weeks, I can't remember, but you have to check it back out, take it back and check it out. When I took it back to the prison library to check it out again, the staff member, white man, told me, oh, this is a reference book. You weren't supposed to be able to take it out. You can only read it inside the library. It wasn't marked as reference, nothing. So I was like, okay, fine. So he wouldn't let me take it. So I ended up having someone order me one and mailing it in. But that is an amazing book to really understand the legal processes in prison and what people incarcerated, how they're hindered. That is an amazing read.
Yeah. By the way, I didn't want to take up too much time and distract from the discussion, but ML, you mentioned something a little while ago in the conversation about the coverage of Samuel's case. And I just did a quick ProQuest search while we were sitting here. And according to that search on the name Samuel Randolph, as opposed to Sam per se, there is nothing that comes up newer than 2011. So I don't... that's not exhaustive or scientific. It's just a quick one-time search, but just in terms of the lack of the discussion that you were talking about earlier and the need to promote and to raise up these issues, even in this environment of all this media and all these podcasts, everybody got a YouTube, everybody got a this. It's very hard to get these issues enough attention. So. Yeah. Anyway,
they're not glamorous.
So
Yeah.
So, brother Sam, I was going to bring that question up. Yeah. So, what was there any? What's the demographics of the black pigs or officer? Was there black people involved in terms of the assault? And did you feel like you had any, I guess, allies or help with people that work in the prison systems at all?
There was no black officers involved in attacks. And well, let me correct that. Once I left Green, the only other place I can go was on the eastern side of the state towards Philly. Once I got there, they some of those guards were black, and it was like it was one entity. So, it was the state prisons. There was 20-some prisons, so no matter where you went, it's one entity. So some of them picked up on where the other officers left off, right? And with the assaults and stuff. So I was assaulted later by other officers. Sometimes it was another officer, like it would be a good officer or a black officer to come, and they seen that I was being starved or something. they had to be careful because the other officers attack them, but they had like give me some food sometimes or help me like that. You know, it was a couple black officers like, look, man, I'm just here to, I am not against you. I'm just here to make money for my family. I just happen to be a correctional officer, but I'm not with that nonsense they're doing to you. Here's a tray. Eat, brother. You know, or like that, right? So sometimes I would encounter that because some of the officers were from Philly, you know, once I got transferred. So I'll run into good officers like that, right? But I was also attacked by some black officers, right? When I was in Philly over there. Yeah. So
And forgive me if this is if I'm inviting repetition, but what is the state of your healthcare now? Like, do you have coverage? Is it all the crowdfunding support? Like what's the state of all of that?
Okay, so when I came home after 22 years, right? Came home, I went from when I was released, they had to take me straight to Hershey Medical Center. I didn't have no insurance or anything, so I had to sign up for like the local like welfare assistance insurance. So that's what I got. And I was trying to go and get the surgery immediately, right? But I had trouble getting that. When I arrived at that hospital, their concern was you don't got no insurance, who's going to pay for that? But now that I got that insurance, it's still like an uphill battle because whenever I'm transported, for example, I have to be on a gurney because I can't sit up or get into a wheelchair. So a lot of that stuff has to be approved when I try to call it in. And so I'm basically confined to the bed. I got that insurance, but I can't take that outside of Pennsylvania, you know, for California. So, you know, they say insurance won't cover that. And I had problems trying to find a doctor to do it here from Pennsylvania. I've been trying, right? And so what happened was, like Michelle said, when we did the first GoFundMe, when I came home, doctors from California said, as our contribution, we'll do that surgery for free. And I've been trying to get out there since. And if those links are part of that GoFundMe and the history and stuff of the case, right? Maybe I could send that link, that specific GoFundMe.
Yeah, we got the link. We
got
the link, and we'll make sure it's in the show description. We've been putting it in the chat already. But just so I'm clear, because somebody had asked, Franny French, I believe, was asking, can we get you to Cuba to get the surgery there on their healthcare system, which, you know, is something like that considered. But if you're saying the doctors in California will do it for free, is it really then just an issue of getting you the proper travel accommodations and a flight out there? Is that
Yeah. Oh, so yeah. Great question. So here's what it is. So the doctors out there said there's other costs that's associated with the surgery that they can cover. For example, the flight. After I get cleared from the surgeon, I can't stay in the hospital, so I got to transition out into a rehab center. Then,
right, because they can't cover the cost of the hospital after the stay at the hospital. They can't afford.
Right.
Right.
Transition now, go to a rehab center, then physical therapy. They say I'm gonna learn how to walk again. It's gonna take anywhere from 3 to 6 months. They're saying it's gonna take months. So they're gonna have to find a place to put me up, food, shelter. And my insurance won't cover none of this because in California, I can't go on the California system because I'm not even a resident out there.
So they can't fly you out there, get the surgery, then fly you back to Pennsylvania for all the post-op care and all of that. It's even as I'm saying that, as it should sound like a solution, it should not have to be a solution. All of this is so absurd. But yeah, I'm just trying to think of all of the some of the questions I see coming up in the chat, and then also just all of the different ways that this is a flawed arrangement. But
yeah, I'm willing to go. Yeah. I travel.
Well, yeah,
right. Yeah. Surgery. Yeah, it's going on 14 years. You know, I'm constantly and I'm willing to go and travel. That's why I didn't hesitate when California stepped up and the doctors out there. I said I sure will fly to California. So yeah, I go to Cuba, anywhere that they're willing to do the surgery, capable and qualified. Let's do it out there. They said they do those surgeries all the time. They do like 5 a week. And they got an approach. They said we only got to tear your back open all crazy. We're going to actually go in through your stomach. They explain the whole process.
Yeah, I'm sorry, my bad. I had a similar discussion at one point, and they break it. It's really wild what they can do when they want to do it.
Right. So they said we can go in through your stomach like a C-section down there at that pelvic. We'll hit you there, cut you open, move those vessels out the way, move your intestines to the side. The spine is right there. Once they do that, it's less invasive. They decompress the spine. My injuries is at L4 and L5 of my
It's supposed to leave you with less scarring and everything too.
Exactly. They said it only takes an hour and it's very successful. So, you know, the surgery, that they do them all the time. And I was happy and excited about it. Like, wow, I was a little nervous because I never had no surgeries, right? They're like, don't worry, we do these all the time, and they're very successful. And this is the least invasive. We go in through the stomach. We can fix that and get you back on your feet. When I was on death row, I actually filed 4 lawsuits, but they tried to settle, but I wouldn't settle with them because all they offered me was they said $15,000. That's commissary money. You could be able to go to the store. No medical though. Why would we fix that when you're on death row? We're going to kill you, right?
Wow.
I was speaking about my innocence. They didn't want to hear none of that. They were like, whatever. You get ready to die. Why would we waste money on fixing you and we get ready to kill you? You know, that just made me fight even harder though. And like Michelle mentioned, wasn't no joke, but they really was trying to kill me. They force fed me 11 times in a 3-day span. This is how vicious they was, right? And because I was one of the ones that fight, what they try to do is say, okay, we're going to get a court order and we're going to botch that procedure and act. We can stand behind that court order. It's a legal court order to force feed, but we just happen to botch the procedure. I'm sorry. So that was their plan, right? So they had me chained to the bed, chained the shackle to the bed. Because they kept promising, oh, we're going to get you. You like fighting. We got something for you. Once they, because I would never eat their food. They were spitting in my food, spraying chemicals on it, disinfected. So I would never eat the jail's food. I had my own food and, you know, healthy stuff that I got in, or my mom would send me a box of food. So they was mad I would never eat their food, and they wanted me to eat their food. So by law, you can only force feed someone to preserve life. You can't, if they're not on their deathbed, because you don't like them, you can't force feed them, right? It has to be a need to preserve their life, right? So when I refused, so what they did was say, let's separate him from his food, where he can't, you know, his stockpile, he can't get to that, and make him eat our food. Well, he's not going to eat it, so we can go to court and get a court order, and then we just botched the procedure. So what they did is, when they had me chained and they kept saying, we got something for you, we gonna get you. So they lied to secure the court order. Once they got the court order, they lied like I was on my deathbed, right? So what they did, they deliberately, you know, they perforated my lungs. Instead of putting it in my stomach, they put it directly in my lungs to drown me. They were drowning me, right? And was just pouring fluid into my lungs. So I'm on the bed trying to fight, and, you know, I'm chained down though. And it was vicious. Yeah, but they did it 11 times in 3 days, right? And I never needed to be force fed, but that was them trying to, you know, murder me. That's how vicious they was. They hated me so much because they couldn't break me, and I kept fighting. And, you know, by the grace of God, they didn't kill me, right? But they tried to several times. You know, that's just one example of the, you know, there's definitely some torturous stuff that I did endure over the course of these almost 22 years, right? So, yeah, it's vicious. So that just makes me continue to fight against that, right? That oppression, abuse, and injustice. Yeah.
Look, I don't even know what to say. It's an honor to get to talk with you a little bit. We will continue to support in any way we can. We will share the links. As soon as we wrap up, I'm gonna go click it and put 5 on it myself. You know, like and Michelle, thank you very much for continuing to bring these stories to us and doing the work that you're doing. I mean, and any time we can be of help on this platform, just obviously let us know, and we'll keep doing what we can do. It's infuriating. And again, Samuel, thank you. It's an honor to get to rap with you, and I appreciate you, and best of luck going forward. And keep us in your loop or whatever. And you're always welcome to come back. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank all y'all for having me, and thank Michelle. So we're gonna talk and continue to talk. I'm gonna call you. I just thank everybody. Thank for all the love and support and all donations. I just thank everybody.
And Dr. Ball, thank you so much. And I'm, as you always end the show, I was just thinking, and that quote by Chairman Fred, Sam was willing to fight for his piece. You know what I'm saying? He was, you know what I'm saying? We say that all the time. I say it all the time too, but this is a person he fought for his life, and he fought for that piece. So I'm gonna do what I can to, keep helping him and making sure that there is going to come a day where he's able to walk again. So thank you all for having us on.
Yeah, no doubt. And if we could just get Diallo to stop burning all these bridges to these bigger media platforms and these bigger celebrities, we might be able to do some more work. He just keep pushing all these buttons.
We
can't help it.
One click.
We this close to freedom, and then Diallo just keep antagonizing these folks. And it's just,
one click away from the liberation. click your liberation.
We cannot listen. We Scorpios, we extra by nature. He can't help it. He really
blame
can't.
It on the stars.
Blame it on the stars.
We're gonna change our name to Click Your Liberation. So Diallo, you get right. Just one click and we got it.
Right.
Absolutely.
Well, listen, Michelle, Samuel, anytime you can come back, you're welcome, and we'll continue to support you as much as possible. So appreciate you both for coming through. Thank you very much, and continued good work. Yes, indeed. Peace, everybody. Fellas, Geechee, thank you for arranging that, putting that together. And before we wrap up, anything you want to let folks know about or put up in the air, and that was pretty heavy right there, man.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Yeah, damn, man. And then after people, if you haven't seen it, go watch the Pendleton 2 documentary that Two Black and his crew put together, and the post-show discussion we had with Breakthrough News. I think it's all on our channel now, but those two conversations back to back, it's a lot, man. I'm about to go lay down, man. About to take a nap. God damn, man. Anyway, I appreciate the both of you, and of course our audience out there. Thank you very much. Please continue to support the platform. Please make sure you're signed up and subscribe to blackpowermedia.org. So just in case these boys vamp on us again, we got a place to catch up with folks and stay in touch. And like Fred Hampton used to say, peace if you're willing to fight for it. Thank you very much to the comrades on the screen and those off the screen. Catch you later throughout the platform. Peace, everybody. Take good care.